What is up, guys? Episode 4, Talkin with Tonka, the infamous DJ Montone. What's up, man?
What's up? I'm infamous.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. He almost didn't make it here. He got lost like 6 times.
Yeah, it's a whole thing here in the Manayunk.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the cut. If you heard the previous episodes, people had a hard time finding my crib.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's definitely interesting. And I don't know. So apparently, the story behind the street was at the end of the street. It was a yarn factory.
Yeah.
Or some. I don't know why they would need a big ass factory for yarn, but all the people that worked at that factory that worked on the the big machines and everything lived in these 10 houses.
Okay.
So that was like part of like I guess their contract. They got a house down here if they like produced yarn.
Yeah, it seems like it was like an afterthought. They're like, oh, we could use some houses here. And,
yeah, they're like maybe. It's definitely interesting. But I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem, man. So let's dive right into it. So you're DJ, father. What else is going on? What else you got?
Marathon runner. I
Yeah,
guess.
so we're gonna dive into that as well because me and you talk about fitness every time, pretty much. I think it's every day. Your comment, you should run further, longer.
Yeah. Homeowner, I am investor. I own a property in South Philly, so I'm a landlord.
Ooh, man!
So I've owned that property for like 15 years plus. Like I've been renting it out for a couple of years now.
Yeah, for sure. Did you live there first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I lived there for 13 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Like right out of college.
Oh, nice.
Actually, not right out of college. Like a little bit after.
When'd you graduate college?
2002.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a little bit after me. I graduated high school 01.
Yeah. I got some years on you.
Yeah, for sure. But that's actually what I'm trying to do with this place. Is I was renting here for 12 years.
Yeah.
Well, I've been here 12 years. I was renting for like 7, and then I bought it off my landlord.
Right.
And my goal was to fix it up, do a bunch of renovations to it, and then rent it out and go get something else and use this as my investment rental property. And then I will be a landlord, so maybe I'll come to you for some advice.
Yeah. Actually, Ryan Dorsey was a big help with that. When my wife and I were like looking to move to New Jersey, where we're living now.
Yeah.
We were going to sell it, and he's like, "You own it outright, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." So at that point, he's like, "Just put some money in it, fix it up." And he's like, "Rent it out." And this is around the time where COVID was had us locked down and everything, and we just reinvested in the house, fixed it up real nice.
Yeah.
Put it on the market, and we got it rented out for like way more than we thought we could.
Yeah. And that's what's nuts now, man. It's like, I feel like everything nowadays is just like skyrocketing. Everything. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to adjust your volume a little bit.
Okay.
So was that a hard transition for you? Like having to deal with like getting landlord, rent tenants in there? I mean,
we worked with a company. I worked with a company that helped actually vet tenants, and they did video and photos.
Oh, wow.
And everything.
Okay.
They did background checks on people.
Oh, so you didn't really do anything.
I barely had to do anything, and they only took 1 month rent. So
wow.
The process was.
I'm definitely gonna be reaching out to you when I'm ready to do that.
Yeah, and they did awesome video and everything. So
damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how long have you been DJing for?
I started in college. I didn't take it like as seriously until I was out of college.
Okay.
And then that's when I got more into it.
Okay.
So I'd say, well, I'm 43, so about 25 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm probably like 17.
Yeah.
18 years. So you got a couple years on me every way around, it seems like.
Yeah. But I say seriously, I've been doing it about.
And you do some cool shit too. You like that one festival. I call it a festival basically.
Yeah, it's become a festival.
Yeah.
So when Jason and I started doing it, it was small. They only had like one act.
Yeah.
And it was like, and they did stuff off site, and they did like smaller events.
Yeah.
But then as it's grown, it's become like this like 3-day festival with like multiple acts. So,
oh yeah, I've seen it. Just so to make people aware, it's for a business called Power, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Power home remodeling.
Yeah, so they put on this like crazy performance. Like I think the last one you just did had Zed.
Yeah, Zed, Swedish House Mafia, Bruno Mars. Yeah.
What's it like opening up for those people?
Amazing. I mean, it's kind of surreal. You kind of just look. You're like, you started DJing, for, your fraternity in college. And now you're just opening the big stage for these big artists, and it's kind of.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine what that feels like.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, I really get paid to do this. Like,
yeah, that's insane. Because shout out to Jason Weiss. I seen him and you do. I think I've been following you guys, for up teen years or whatever it is. Yeah. But you guys, it seems like every year it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like and I see the hype around it now. It's nuts.
As we were lucky enough, Barry Van Doren, our good friend, he's actually in San Diego with Jason right now.
Oh, really?
He hooked us up with Power, when they were like a smaller group. And as the company's grown, like they've just taken us along for the ride.
That's awesome. And that's what, a lot of people don't understand is like relationships, man. That's like, that's how anybody gets anywhere. Like, I know, I don't know if you heard the podcast I was on with DJ Kev. With
I listen to all three.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I follow.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So I was talking about how I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the relationships I made throughout my life. Yeah. Right. So, let's take the Phillies, for instance, right? If I didn't know DJ, he would have never brought me on board.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
But and that relationship that I had with Barry, like that's because he was the door guy at Public House.
Oh, snap.
So
I remember you booked me at Public House once.
Yeah.
Once or twice.
Yeah. And that's because of Nick Albater.
Right.
So we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
I have a question about that too.
Okay. Oh boy.
Yeah, I know, right? So Barry, like obviously Barry's the door guy at Public House.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, you work at a place like all the time, you become friends with people.
Yeah.
And Barry, one day was walking in the street and I got done a gig and he was with like one of the girls from Power that does the events. He's like, "Oh, Becca, this is Montone, one of the best DJs in the city. You got to come here." And she's like, "Yeah, right." And this was like years ago.
Wow.
And she's like, "Oh, well, she came and heard my one party, Dayload." So this was years ago when Dayload was like a real, like one of the most popular parties at the time.
Banger.
Yeah.
She
came to Dayload, and then the rest was history.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, "Oh, okay. Then like you're coming to Mexico." I'm like, "What?"
You're like, "All right." Okay. Say less, fam.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, say less.
I'll be there.
Yeah. So.
That's insane, man. It's crazy who you meet and where they take you.
Yeah.
And it's like how you mentioned my friend Nick Albater. That's a mutual friend of ours. Like, he brought me along to so much cool stuff, man. And I got to meet like Jeremy Macklin, Fletcher Cox, like Turkaloo from I think he was playing Orlando at the time. Like he introduced me to all these athletes, and now I'm friends with them, which is crazy. Like, I'm not a huge Eagles fan, as a lot of people know, but I've currently been, working a lot of Eagles games.
You got no choice now.
Yeah, I don't have a choice now. I'm kind of in it. So I try to wear I don't wear just a random guy's jersey, right? So I wear a Macklin jersey. Yeah. Everybody,
he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Yeah.
And I just got one of his Reebok jerseys from when he was first drafted onto the team.
Yeah.
And it's an actual game official jersey. Like it's heavy. That's how you know it's like the real deal, right? So I had to get it hemmed, right? Because it's like down to my kneecaps. And I got a pair of Iversons to match it and everything. And everybody's like, "Yeah, where'd you get that jersey?" I was like, "You'll never guess. eBay, $40." And then it cost me $35 to get it hemmed. So it's like a $70 jersey. I might as well just bought a $100 Nike at that point. But
amazing.
But it's funny, like I said, it's like who you meet and where they take you is just like unreal, right? So I think it was my birthday last year. It just happened to be right near my birthday. I went to the Eagles Raiders game in Vegas with Nick, and he knows everyone everywhere. Yeah. So we go to Vegas, right? I meet up with them. He knows, the concierge at the Aria. And I'm like, "Bro, like, who are you?" Sometimes I'm like, I've known this dude like 10, 12 years. And I'm like, "Who are you?" So we get to the game. We get to the Allegiant Stadium. We get there. He goes, "Yeah, I got a surprise for everybody." I'm like, "What?" He takes us to the side entrance, right, of the stadium. Right. Takes us below the stadium. Like, we're going underground, right? We're going like, where are we going? It starts getting like real fancy looking. Like, I had my camera out the whole time, like videoing this. I was like, "Where is he taking us?" We walk into the nightclub in the end zone.
Okay.
It's fucking wild, man. Like
I've seen,
yeah. So I have a video. You literally walk in, like it's all painted like flat black with the Raiders logos every now and then. Then you walk into this black marble room.
Yeah.
And with like these crazy white LEDs, there's a DJ playing. It wasn't Espinosa. It's like his opener, and it was crazy, man.
Espinosa's good people. I actually met him in San Francisco.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've never met him. Yeah, I would love to meet him because his set. He played a set. He plays like I want to say like a 45-minute set when people are like walking in.
Okay.
But because we were in that nightclub, we were allowed to be there like 2 hours before the game. Because I'm like, why are we walking in here so early? You know what I mean? So he gets us wristbands and hooks us up. And he got us hooked up with a luxury box upstairs because it was like Macklin's Boy or something. I was like, this is crazy. And I was like, I'm with all these dudes that have all this money. And I'm like, it's just a broke DJ. So I'm like, I can't afford anything. They're like, nah, just throw up like what you can. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, while literally standing on the field for the whole first quarter of the game. I'm like, this is nuts. And all because Nick knows this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy.
Nick knows people.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And that was going off your point is like you never know who you're going to meet. Like you met that guy from Power because he was the door guy and he introduced you to her and then she loves you and it's like that's all she wrote. You know? So you just ran what? How many marathons is this for you?
Not two. I mean, it's kind of hard to balance like the running schedule with the DJ life because most marathons happen on Sundays and you're supposed to take the weekend off and not stand and, work late hours when you're, and when you gotta wake up at, marathons usually start at like 6, 7 in the morning and,
you're just getting home.
Exactly. It's a whole thing for a marathon too.
Yeah. So what's the training process like for that? Just in case people are interested in doing something like that.
Yeah. Well, the first one I kind of did on a whim. It was, I was listening to an audiobook.
Okay.
And I was coming back from Seattle. I was going, I work at the OD.
Yeah.
And on the way, obviously, listening to music on the way home, long drive from, back to.
It's awful.
Exactly.
I hate that drive so much.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why me and Smooth got a house this year.
So that's why my wife bought me a Tesla.
Shout
out to my wife. That's now we have two because she loved mine so much. So
it drives itself. You don't have to worry about falling asleep.
But I was listening to David Goggins' first book, and he talked about commitment.
Okay.
And the one part that hit me was like, wow, I never committed to doing a marathon. And at that point, I only ran like a half marathon, and that was like years ago.
Yeah.
So I literally got home at like 4 a.m, and I had looked at when the Philly Marathon was, and I saw that it was 3 months out. So I was like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah.
So I committed to doing the marathon. So I did it in a 3-month time period. And the first one I did, that was 2 years ago. I did it in 4:08, which was, I wanted to get around 4 hours, which, I mean, it was fine.
You had to run constantly for 4 hours?
I did. But I was like, it was fine. I was like just over like a 9-minute mile.
Yeah.
This time I put in 4 months of work, which was like something every day. So it's either like you're doing strength training or you're doing like a recovery run or like a long run. You do one long run a week and you're building that up every time. And then like every so often you do like a taper week. But every day you're doing something.
Right.
And then you work your way up, and then all of a sudden, the most you do is like a 22 miler. You do like a couple 20 milers in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And this time around, I did my marathon in 3:51, so I cut like
a lot of time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
So my next goal would be to do it in like 3:30 to 3:20.
So is that something like, when you're running and you see someone like running faster than you or like slower than you, like, are you trying to pace other people or are you just running at your own pace?
No, you can't let anybody else, determine like how you're going to run. You got to run your own race.
Yeah.
And there's so many different factors. Being in a race, anybody that does run, it's so wild because, you have so much going on, especially at the start of the race, the crowd. I mean, especially like, us being DJs too.
Yeah.
You have so much going on. You have, people cheering you on.
Yep.
You have like
people booing you.
Yeah. People booing you. You play the wrong song.
Yeah.
But no, you have people hyping you up, but then you might have like 3 hours left. You're like, crap. I don't want to shoot my load down.
Yeah,
you know? I know
yeah.
how much time I have. You get into a room like Barstool. You get into a room like Wicked Wolf. You know, you know how much time you have, and you got to pace yourself. And it's the same thing with like a marathon. You got to just pace yourself, and you know how much time you have.
This is a good segue back to DJing, because you just brought up a great point that me and Nine and I think Smooth were talking about. These places now, people are going out a lot earlier, right? So for the younger DJs that are listening, what advice would you give to them walking into a place like Barstool or Wicked Wolf, or even I see they open a little later, but like these shifts start at 9:00, right? Mm-hmm. So like recently, because of the the playoff games and like basketball games that are on right before you start, the place is packed at 8:30. So what advice would you give to a younger DJ that's walking into that room and gets very overwhelmed and he doesn't know what to do because he's like, I have a 5-hour gig. Am I just going to play bangers right off the rip?
No, I mean, you could play old school bangers. Like there are ways of playing hits that are not current. Like, and I think that's still true to today. Like you could still, like when I was an opener at Haven, and I was a habitual opener at Haven, like, and I barely, like, every now and then I got the headline. Yeah. But that was like some of my favorite times were to open. Yeah. Because I would make it a point to just crush it when I open. Yeah. And I would search how to open with energy. And you just need energy. You need to hit the songs at the right times. Right. And whatever were hits, like, and what are the top songs, just stay away from it. How would you open for yourself? Right. Without playing, without like, like shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah, yeah. And that's the best way to do it. And then just give it energy and play, and don't slow play it. Like, play more songs. Right. That's how I would do it.
So are you playing, like two choruses out?
Yeah, or I'm playing like one chorus. Like it depends. Like it depends on the song. Like sometimes I'm just playing like a chorus and I'm out.
Yeah, for sure. So so my advice to someone going into that gig is just like how you're saying, you don't look at anybody else. You just pace yourself. Yeah. So I'm throwing in those like 80s, 90s bangers for like the first from 9 to 10,
I'm not
working my way up.
I'm not giving you anything new. Like I'm trying to feel out the crowd too at the same time. I'm also seeing what you're reacting to. Is it like hip hop? Is it reggae? Is it house? Like what is it, pop? Like what are you more into? And then I'm kind of like working around that. Yeah. And then working with that genre.
Yeah. Too. If I'm gonna be honest, I've been I think DJing. I can't even guess. I think I want to say it's like 17 years or something, but. That still overwhelms me now, going into these places and it's mob. Yeah, absolutely. At 9 o'clock, I'm like, oh, Jesus. Like, sometimes I'm like...
It could be overwhelming, yeah, absolutely.
So, like, perfect example is Shenanigans at Seattle. 8 to 9 is that Disney happy hour bullshit, right, on Saturdays, right? So, like, I start at 9, and I'm, like, telling Chuck McHugh, shout out to Chuck, I always tell him, yo, can you keep playing? Because they love this Disney shit, and I don't have any on my computer because I refuse to play it. So he's like, nah, man, the mix is over in, like, 7 minutes. You got to start. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I get on. First song I play, if it's not, like, a Katy Perry sing-along or something, I'm getting booed. Like, if it's not a sing-along, I'm getting booed immediately. And it sucks because you're there for another 4 hours and 58 minutes.
So it's got to be something that they know,
right? Yeah. And it's crazy, man. And like how Seattle is. So like Seattle has that like changeover. So from like just for people don't know, like there's a club in Seattle called Shenanigans where after 10:30 you can't wear beach attire, right? So like
oh really? Yeah, they have that dress code there.
Yeah, so people will come for that no shower happy hour.
Wow, OD they don't care.
Yeah, so like if you're in a tank, I can't even wear a tank top when I'm DJing, right? And I'm like hot, I'm like sweating. I bring like 2 shirts when I DJ there. So I think it's about like 10:30. Everybody that's like wearing beach attire has to leave.
They really tell you.
Yeah, they tell me I can't wear a tank top. It's crazy. I walked in with a tank top one day, and the owner was like, "You gotta put a shirt on." I was like, okay. Even if I go to Dead Dog next door, they make me put a collared shirt on.
Dead Dog, I mean, they've always been like that.
Yeah. But like, they kick people out if they're wearing beach attire at a certain time. And then you have a changeover, right? So you have like a dead point. Dead point. Where there's like just the bar. People were at the bar at that point because everybody on the dance floor was in the beach attire, so they had to leave. Right. And it's like, all right, I get a little bit of a break, but not really. You know what I mean? Right. But so those younger DJs that are listening, make sure you pace yourself. don't be playing bangers like off the rip because no one wants to hear that because you can't replay them. Would you replay a song in a 5-hour set?
No, unless somebody pays me very well.
Yeah.
Or
you're like me then. I know. I refuse to replay songs.
Or the night called for, but like no, I hate that.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah, I hate that too.
It's like the only song I'm like replaying like back to back right now is like the Uzi song.
Yeah.
I Wanna Rock, but just Wanna Rock, but yeah, that's about it because the song's so short.
It's like I want to say it's like
2 minutes.
It's literally on the button, like 2:01 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was telling you how I remix it live now with Mr. Brightside, and I just like loop I Wanna Rock. I just want to rock or whatever it is, like that 8-bar verse, and then it's not really a verse; he's just repeating himself. But I put that Mr. Brightside behind it, and every time I play it, it gets more and more hype.
Yeah,
like people just love it, and especially at places that don't want you to play hip hop, right? Because they still consider that hip hop. You know, it's
not
just a beat, but so literally it's just a beat. But it sounds so good in nightclubs that have really good subs.
Oh my gosh,
it sounds
amazing.
Great. Yeah, and like some places, you know, like that don't have good sounds, it doesn't sound that great, but. So there's a lot of places, especially in Philly, is like you can't play too. They don't want you in that hip hop bag too long. So that's why I started.
I find that weird. But,
you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't get it either. Fights start with house music as well. So
I mean, yeah, I've seen fights break out with Madonna.
Yeah,
and,
it doesn't matter. Alcohol's involved. They'll fight over anything. You know what I mean? But I've been mixing a lot more rock in my sets because you know what I mean. It gets you into playing hip hop more. You know, especially we can get in and out of records. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean that's great. I love the way like certain bands play down the shore, like Go Go Gadget in particular, like because they're in and out of songs and they'll do like rock and hip hop. They do like their power hour.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So
it's quick too.
Yeah, which I love. So like that's why I've always loved them. They've always been one of my favorite bands because they do. Kind of like my style where they're in and out of stuff like
for sure.
So they do like rock and hip hop and
I love that, man. And I feel like, you know, because I was inspired a lot by, you know, like Jazzy Jeff and like AM and all these dudes and like a lot of their open format sets. I even heard Jeff play, you know, he would drop like Hell's Bells and stuff in his early sets, like random AC/DC records and like especially AM. You know, I was just listening.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
He would drop Dolly Parton records, man. I'm like, that is ballsy.
Yeah.
Like, I was listening to one from Rain Nightclub at the gym like 2 weeks ago, and it ends with a Dolly Parton record. I'm like, man, you got balls, bro. That's like 1:30 in the morning, and you're dropping Dolly Parton. People are probably looking at you like,
that's like prime. That's like everybody's tuned up and everybody's just, you know.
Yeah, so that's normally my like. So if I'm being honest, like between 12:30 and 1:30, that's when I'm dropping a lot of my like punk rock sing along records.
Yeah,
because people are all tuned up.
Yeah, they're ready for it.
Yeah,
and if you got a good crowd.
Oh yeah, so where was I at? Where I was like, this is gonna be ballsy, and I was like, I don't think they're gonna like it, and they ended up liking it, but I was Sport and Social this past Sunday. I looked at my friend Ben. I'm like, I don't know if I should play this, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, they're pretty drunk. So I was like, all right, I'll try it. So I dropped All Time Low, Dear Marie, Count Me In, right?
Right.
And, you know, it's a pretty mixed crowd, you know what I mean, diverse. And people started screaming it. Even people I didn't even think would know the song. That's and I was
amazing.
Like, awesome.
That's a great feeling.
Yeah, it is, man. It's like there's nothing like it.
Now, what do you follow it up with? Because then are you like in shock? You're like, oh, that worked.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
crap, no.
I think I only played like a minute of it, if I'm being honest. But that's like 90 beats per minute.
Did you have a record ready?
Yeah, like, I had I Love Rock and Roll ready.
Okay,
that's like always my backup record because everybody knows that record.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. I think I went into like I'ma
That's your fail safe. You're like,
I had that queued up, but I think I had I'ma Be like parked right behind it.
That's for the young DJs, just in case the record fails.
Yeah, have something in your prepare folder at all times. Yeah. But I think I played I'ma Be because it has a burn. So that burn will go anything with, if you do like a reverb out with like a little bit of a thing, it will go with anything. So I played that like directly after because I was like, this might bomb. And that's also younger DJs will make sure if like you have a record that might bomb, like this one's 90 beats per minute and then I'ma Be's like 92. So like that's a mixable record.
Right.
Might not be in perfect key. I don't know what the keys of those records are off the top of my head, but and that's another thing too. I got I gave this one DJ Finesse, Brad. I gave him a little slack because he mixed 2 records together and he posted a picture of it. One was 1A, one was 11A. I was like, whoa, that's like it's a little out there.
1A,
it's pretty close in the spectrum because of the way it goes around.
1A kind of goes with everything. I feel like.
Yeah, but he was like, I think it was Scooter's remix of Dreams and Nightmares and the Eagles fight song. So it was like the way he did it.
Scooter made a remix?
Yeah.
Of Dreams and Nightmares?
Yeah, it's like a house beat or something. I want to say it was Scooter that made it.
Whoa.
Because he played the Scooter.
Was it a segue?
Yeah, it might have been. I think it was, I want to say it was, Scooter's, he has an Eagles fight song. It's like a kind of trappy Baltimore club-ish thing. I love it. That's the only one I play. And then there was another. I want to say it's like a house version of Dreams and Nightmares or some shit. It's like a very club friendly version. I don't play it because I hate that fucking song, man.
No, I know. We talked about this.
Yeah. So,
but I think the Uzi song might replace it this year, which is like.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And I'll make an edit for everybody that's 4 minutes, so we don't have to re-loop it. Yeah. But so when the Eagles won the other night. Montone looks at me and he goes, I'm about to play your favorite song. I'm like, please don't. Please don't do it. I played that song so much a few years ago. What was that, 2018? And I played that song so much and I was like, this sucks. Like I got tired of it.
I mean, yeah, I was tired of it before like the Eagles won the Super. And listen, I love the Birds.
He talks about being a Miami Heat fan in that song.
Yeah. And,
like what is wrong with this picture?
Like, Meek is like a whole thing. It's just like, it's just whatever.
So, was it Sunday night? I'm trying to get home from Winston, right? It took me an hour and a half.
Oh my God, yeah, because
everything was shut down. Yeah, everything. So these guys had like a big Suburban with a trailer full of speakers, blasting that song, all Meek songs. You know, Little Uzi.
So you were just stuck behind them?
Well, no, they were going up the opposite traffic to get around me. And then they got stuck, so I was the speakers just blasting in my face for like 45 minutes.
You're like, this is my hell.
This is literally my hell. I just left. I just left the loud nightclub. I don't want to be in another one. So, because you've been DJing a lot longer than me, and I don't want to talk about it.
No, it's not. It is what it is, man.
So
I'm very lucky to, I've accepted. I've gone through like the ebbs and flows of it, and I'm very lucky to still be relevant, and still, get the opportunities that I have.
I'm grateful for that every day, man.
So, no, I can hide from it, but I'm very, very happy to still be with like awesome people and still have the opportunities that I have.
Yeah. So, where I was going with that is, how long have you been a full-time DJ?
So been married 13 years, been full-time 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was full time for a while. I want to say close to 10 years, and then 2019, I got my first like full. I always had a part time job.
Right, yeah.
Just to keep my like resume active in case God forbid DJing didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I was doing multiple different things. It doesn't matter. But
right.
In 2019, I randomly got offered a job as a technology coordinator at a charter school my buddy was working at. They needed somebody. They actually interviewed me to be a teacher. A technology teacher.
No way.
Yeah, because I had a part-time job. I was kind of a teacher. Basically I worked in this technology lab in the Bucks County Community College, right?
Okay.
And this technology lab was primarily based for nursing students and people that didn't really know how to video edit or do anything in Photoshop.
Right.
So they would come to my lab and I would literally show them how to start the project after they had all their information gathered, but that's another story. But I would show them how to basically video edit, or manipulate pictures and stuff like that. So I was basically teaching, at a college. It was crazy. So my buddy was like, "Yo, they're looking for like someone like you, but to teach kids." And I always kind of wanted to be a teacher. I always like teaching people new things. So I was like, "All right, I'll go in and interview." So I interviewed, and I was like, "She's like, well, you don't have any teaching experience. Would you be interested in the technology coordinator? You just take care of our computers, update them, this, that, and the other thing." I was like, "Yeah." So they were like, let's hire you for that. And I was like, all right. And then he called me like a week later and they were like, hey, after talking with the other principals and stuff like that, we think you would be a really good fit to be the technology teacher. And I was like, oh shit, do I really want to teach kindergartners through 7th grade? So I was like, all right, cool. Is the pay the same? Like, no, it's more money. So I was like, all right, bet. Like, I was like, I don't need a certification or nothing. They're like, no, you'd be like a long-term sub or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'll try it. You know what I mean? What's the year of my life? So I got no direction. I actually just told this story yesterday. And I was like, I never wrote a lesson plan. I never did any of these things. And they needed all this stuff due in like a month. And I was like, emailing my now boss. And I was like, hey, I've never really done this before. Can you give me like direction? I'm like looking online and I'm like, I want to make sure the format is correct. I don't want to redo it because it's like 12 pages. And no one was helping me, man. Like no one. Yeah. Like no one was reaching back. It was summer. Yeah. I mean, these people are off for 2 months. So they're they're probably not checking their email, you know? So like, I'm like 2 weeks away from starting. Nothing done. I was like sweating. Maybe 3 weeks. And I called her at this point. I'm like, hey, like this, I don't think this is going to work out. Like, can I just be the technology coordinator? Because I was like, I very overwhelmed. Like, I don't like. I've taught college kids, but I never taught kindergarten through 8th. And like, I was like, I don't know how to write a lesson plan. I don't know how to do any of these things. She's like, no, it's fine. Like, if you want to just be the technology coordinator, that's fine. I was like, thank you. I did that. I was like, I'll just do that, you know. And I loved it. It was so much fun. And then I was actually better off because these kids were awful. Like, they're just bad kids. They're just bad. Like, they would fight women teachers and stuff. It was bad. It was intense. I mean, I definitely made the right choice. But I left there, and then because they wouldn't give me a raise, they made me a manager. I brought in Jimmy Six. I had employed him for a little while, and another buddy of mine, and they wouldn't give me a raise. University of Penn offered me like $14,000 more than I was making, so I left there and went to University of Penn, and then I hated it. And then I got the Phillies call, and I was like, all right, I'm about to be a full-time DJ again. Like, fuck it. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Yeah, work life is just not for me. Like, 9 to 5 is not for me.
Yeah,
it's funny how the world just kind of pushes you in a direction.
Yeah, that's what kind of happened with me. I was with a smaller company. It was like my second job out of college, and they were going in a different direction. They got bought out, and I was getting a nice package.
Yeah.
To leave. So that was at the time when I was with Public House, and I was managing that property, Field House, Mission Grill.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what, if I can, and I was getting unemployment too, so
it definitely helps.
So hopefully, this is like far enough away where the IRS won't get me, but but I was like, if I can make this work, I was getting unemployment and everything. I was like, maybe I can make this work, like
for
full
sure.
time.
That's kind of how I first dove into it as well.
Right. And at that time I was getting, everything was cash. So it was like,
oh my God.
Yeah. Well,
I missed it.
It was different. It was a different time.
I have a gig on Friday. It's all cash. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's like, you like
different times. Now everything's on the books. Everything's declared.
You didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid cash on Friday.
Right.
What were you what were you doing for a job? Like, what was your job?
I was in pharma.
Okay.
Yeah. Did pharmaceutical research for pharmaceutical companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's like, you're a nerd.
Yeah. I a degree in business and marketing from Drexel.
Oh, nice. So, okay. How about those Drexel parties?
Yeah. I mean, so I belonged to Sigma Alpha Mu, a big party fraternity. At the time when I was there, they just renewed. That's how I actually got into DJing. Yeah. I collected music like that. From the time I was a kid. That's so my first collecting was music. Yeah. And then just that piggybacked into like other things that I did. But I got to college and I met like the DJ in my fraternity. His name was Petrie, DJ Easy Petrie. Shout out to Kevin Petrie.
It's a great name. Easy Petrie.
Easy Petrie. Yeah. Who like didn't know how to DJ. He just played records. He just played like dope records. But I had all the new hip hop. So at the time when I was in college, like Puffy, Biggie, Pac, like all like hip hop was like becoming mainstream. And he's like, yo, you got a lot of good hip hop. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you want to DJ this party with me? I was like, okay.
All right.
Yeah. I had CDs and records and like so we literally like there was no blending.
Yeah, it was smashing records.
Yeah, it was just smash. It was like up and down faders, There was no
beat
cutting
matching,
and scratching. Yeah, there was no beat matching, but like we just had fun. Yeah. Yeah. Lauryn Hill, like Fugees, like whatever. It was a blast, dude.
Yeah, that's what's up. So
like
that's funny how that kind of shit works, man. And it's like I have, I was a breakdancer in this nightclub, and that's how I got my start. You know, I got hurt. I got hurt in this. Excuse me. I got hurt like breakdancing. And the DJ, I was always asking him, like, yo, can you show me, like, this is when Serato first came out? And he was like, well, I'm going to teach you how to mix records without Serato first, you know? So I was a drummer years ago. So, excuse me. And so I was like, beat magic kind of came naturally to me, you know what I mean? So he would show me a couple things in the songs, and because we had bar books back then with CDs. It was crazy.
Yeah, I had them.
Yeah, it was like 112 pages.
Yeah. I had them too.
Yeah, I think I still have it. I think I have it at my dad's house. But so he showed me how to beat match, and then he showed me Serato, and then I was like, I was all she wrote. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm hooked now. You know,
did you know how to? Did you get how to beat match right away?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, because I knew how to count the beat, like the bass beats. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 4 is usually the snare, and like all these. Yeah, so I was like, it was easy for me because like, if when I'm DJing, I'm always tapping my foot to the bass beat. And like people are always like, does your foot like go numb? Is that why you're like hitting your foot? I was like, no, it's just like that's how I count the beats. So and then some people are like they see me. It's funny. I say it. I don't speak it, but my mouth moves. I'm like bringing in records, and people are like that. They're not the words. I was like, no, I'm counting the beats, idiot.
I'm aware.
I'm aware. It's not the song. But that's funny. It's like, do you have a quirk like that, like for when you're DJing?
I'm sure I do. I'm sure if people just videoed me, I'm sure I'm got some stupid quirks. Like
it's funny too how you get those things. Like I had this weird. It's like I don't know. It's like a twitch or something. But if I'm like scratching a record and like whatever, and I know I gotta like scratch a song in, and I'm like I make sure my hand's loose. So I'm like moving my hand around. People probably think I'm a weirdo. Like, tapping my foot, singing to myself with not the right words, moving my hands. And I had this other one from grabbing vinyl. I lick my hand still, but now I don't lick my hand because that's gross as shit. I tap my chin.
Really? It's like
every record, bro.
Really?
I tap my chin.
Wow.
I can't get out. I don't know how to break it. I'm like, when I tie my hands down.
I know. When I used to play with vinyl, I used to lick my fingers too. Wow.
Yeah, and we're not talking about my cat, by the way. It's not about vinyl records. But yeah, it's like shout out to Sat One. He had the trick back in Murmur. Dusk. He used to have the bank tellers would have that little cup.
Sponge.
Yeah, the little sponge. He would use that after licking your hands was gross as shit. Like after you shake like 10 people's hands, you're putting them in your mouth. Yeah. I was never sick back then, so maybe that's why I was never sick, because I was exposed to all these germs.
There you go.
Yeah. So now I tap my chin. And people probably think like I have an itch or something.
Just your nervous tick.
Yeah, it's like a nervous tick. Just hit myself. Leave it in the comments, or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, if you ever see me do this, DM me so I don't let me know. Do you guys see me do this, or am I imagining it? Because it's insane, man. So you don't know if you have any nervous tics?
Not that I'm like
aware.
I mean, I might tap my foot like and stuff like that, but I'm not like acutely aware of it. I don't know. I'm sure like people. My wife could probably like
just pinpoint something.
If you ask my wife, she'd probably be like, yeah, you do this, and be like, oh.
So this is a good segue since you brought up your wife. I met her for the first time at Dayload.
Okay.
I might have met her years ago.
Probably.
She had Cherry 11s on, so let's get into that. So one of our common things is we're sneakerheads. Is she a sneakerhead too, or do you make her?
The only reason why she has kicks is because
of you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you collected music back in the day? Did that spawn your sneaker collecting? When did you start collecting sneakers?
I mean, I always like loved kicks, but I never really collected kicks until I got sober. So I've been without a drop of booze for 10 plus years now.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. And then shout out to Ryan Dorsey once again, because he kind of has a crazy amount of kicks, or he used to anyway, before he had triplets.
He's gonna be on the show as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before he had triplets, like he used to be like heavy in the sneakers, and now things change. Life changes when you have kids.
Yeah.
Obviously. But yeah, so like I kind of just got into kicks, Yeah. I was like, oh, this is cool. That kind of my.
So 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah.
But I, honestly, like I collected. I've kind of flipped my collection like twice now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you, but I'll, for the people that that don't know, I had some really nice kicks.
Yeah.
But then, and I've worn the crap out of some of them.
Yeah.
And then there's others that I flipped. So when we moved from Philadelphia to Cherry Hill, I had to put money back into the house, and I sold a bunch of kicks, and I had to get money because I put a lot of money into my house. So it is what it is.
You know what's funny is people always ask me, they're like, you spent so much money on kicks, you have so much more money for other shit. And I was like, well, guess what? Those sneakers got me through COVID. Like selling my doubles, selling the stuff I don't wear anymore. You know what I mean? Like I've made,
dude, it's amazing. Money. I was like, I honestly, like I just invested in something else, which I can't talk about right now, but I'll talk about like when it does pop up. But I just was able to flip over $4,000 worth of Yeezys. Because I was like, you know what, it's time. Yeah, you know what, it's just time. You know, but I didn't realize how many pairs of undead stock Yeezys I had sitting in my closet. I was like, Jesus, like, this
that's a lot. Yeah, especially if you're buying them for your wife and maybe even your kids.
Yeah, well, my kids are my daughter, my son, like I could buy him whatever. He's just like whatever. My daughter though, she's like, I need Jordans. I was like, no, you don't, but I'll buy you some. Yeah.
So this is funny. I talked to one guy at the gym, and he wanted to buy his kid Yeezys. Like, you ever think about buying her a fake pair? Would you buy your kids a fake pair?
No.
So I wouldn't do that either if I had kids.
That's just not me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I've seen some fakes. I mean, I don't know. The fakes now
they're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
Jimmy Six, man. That kid's the king of dupes.
Bro. I know that kid.
The king of dupes. That's actually a great nickname for him. I just made that up. Jimmy, if you're listening, king of dupes.
And playing YMCA.
Yeah. The gin and whatever bootleg. But it goes off, that song.
I gotta admit, like time and place.
It goes off, man.
It's going off.
That's crazy.
I know.
Let's get off the king of dupes for a second. But, so your wife's not into sneaks, but she's like, oh, these are nice. I'll get those.
My wife is not. She's got no time for that.
Yeah.
Like she's a doctor. She's just
she's busy.
Yeah.
What's her? Does she have to wear like Crocs or something at work?
No, I mean she actually. I just got her the Silver Bullet Air Maxes. Dude,
they're sitting right now.
I know.
But
that's like her favorite pair. So she wears them to work.
Oh, okay. I love that.
She's got some.
They're so comfortable. 9.7s are like unreal.
The Columbia 11 lows.
Love those too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a few pairs that she likes that she loves to wear and stuff that she can rock to work.
Yeah, and they're comfortable shoes too.
Yeah, exactly.
The Silver Bullet are 9.7s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I have one. Oh shit, probably 2 or 3 pairs of 9.7s. If I had to guess, because they're not my favorite model, but like that Silver Bullet, I actually kind of holds like a special place in my heart, believe it or not.
Yeah.
My uncle, we're kind of separated for a while, through family bullshit.
Yeah,
if you listen to my family, my last episode, I talked about my family doesn't really talk. It was my dad's.
I've had the same thing happen to my family, man. I have an uncle, my dad's youngest brother.
Yeah.
We don't even speak.
Yeah.
Because of money and like dumb shit.
It's crazy, man. So he didn't talk to me, my brother, my dad, obviously. And then what brought us back together was my cousin Johnny, right? We would go golfing and stuff, and then I asked my dad, is it cool if I go golfing with Johnny and Uncle Johnny? He's like, yeah, go have fun. I want you to have a relationship with this man. You know what I mean? He's my younger brother.
Right.
His favorite shoe, Silver Bullet 9.7s.
Oh, wow.
Every time he would dick them, because back then you could just buy another pair.
Because they were just out. Yeah.
They were out forever. They would be out for months and months and months.
Yeah.
He would have boxes of them because he loved that shoe, and that's all he would wear.
I mean, I get it.
Comfortable ass shoe. Yeah. And but I don't own a pair. I don't own a pair of Silver Bullets, but now they're going on sale. I might actually just buy a pair just for nostalgic purposes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the frig I'd wear it with them because they're like bright silver. But
they look great on my wife. So I just don't know what I would rock them with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm like,
I think girls can get away with a lot more than we could.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they throw together. It has their outfit has a little bit of red in it or something. And they're like, because the red Nike check, they're like, I can pull that off.
Yeah, it's like that's why like there's some shoes like I would never rock those like Cherry 11s, but like for my wife, it's like
I kind of wanted to get them for my Phillies jersey.
Well, see that'd
be sick.
That would make sense.
Yeah, so like I don't wear 11s with like high 11s with like shorts because I don't know, I have weird calves or something. I have cankles. It just looks weird. It just looks like the shoe goes right into my calf. It's like so weird. I have like maybe short like shins or something. I don't know. It just looks really
Not
dumb.
in proportion.
Yeah, my legs are so unproportionate, and I think that's probably why I can't. But so I feel like girls and women, like when I see a girl wearing like a nice pair of kicks, I'm like, is she a sneakerhead?
Yeah.
Like, who picked those out for you?
Yeah.
Like I've met probably.
You're like, I'm in love. What's up?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Eric. What's your name? I don't like long walks on the beach, but I love sneakers. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's funny. The girl I rented this house with years ago, she was a sneakerhead too.
Okay.
Yeah. So like me and her, like this whole room was at one time. You probably saw the before and after this room.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was her side was on that side. It was packed up to the ceiling. Same with me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we had a shelf in the middle with like half and half. You know, it was crazy. And then somehow we fit a table in here with my turntable so I can make mixes for when I was on this internet radio show for a while. And we obviously broke up and stuff. But every shoe that I bought her while we were separated is still in the basement.
Wow.
Because I was like, I'm not giving these aren't yours. You don't even know
Mine
they
now.
exist. Yeah. There's a pair of Kobe's down there. I forget what number. No, it's Kobe 6, I think.
Okay.
Very rare Laker colorway. You can't even find them on eBay or StockX. Nowhere.
Yeah,
so it's like
I love seeing these Kobe's.
Yeah, I leave them up there, man, because like I don't want to swap them out. It's just like nutty.
I never got into the Kobe's. I wish I did, but yeah.
I
stopped looking at.
Yeah,
them,
I love Kobe's throw.
Yeah.
That was like he was my favorite player, and I think DJ Kev asked me on the last one, if you have anybody to sign something. Yeah, the undefeated Kobe. He could sign up with a black Sharpie. I don't give a shit. I'll never wear those suckers again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I have a pair of her Kobe's downstairs. Yeah. It's a black, yellow colorway with a little bit of silver. It was like their alternate home shoe. We found them in a Nike outlet and somewhere in Merlin. Merlin.
That is that's how they say it.
Yeah, it's at Merlin. So I don't even know how to sell them because they're kid size 4. So it's like, who's buying that? You know what I mean? Or a kid size, I want to say they're 4s. And I'm like, people don't even know that shoe exists. You know what I mean? So it's like, do I just, hope I find a girl down the road with the same shoe and just give them to her? Like, I guess I'll just give them to her. You know what I mean? But it's funny, like, because like I said, you see a girl wearing a fly pair of kicks, you're like, damn, that just makes you 10 times more attractive. I know you can't say that now, but because you're married, but seeing your wife in a fly pair of kicks, what does that do for you?
When I met my wife, she was wearing like what was she wearing? Like flip flops. Like
would you meet her down the shore?
No, I actually met her at Kavanaugh's.
Oh, Riverdeck?
No, University City.
Oh, wow.
She's from LA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like she was only here for a few months. She was doing a program. She was at UCLA doing a program through UPenn.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So, and I convinced her to go on a date with me. It took her like a couple weeks to go on a date with me.
Oh, wow.
And then,
so you're a good convincer.
Yeah. I think so. She's still with me. So
yeah, she moved here. Shit.
She still believes my bullshit. So.
Yeah. She left the palm trees for pigeons and trees.
Right. We did long distance for 9 months, and after she graduated, she moved here.
Good for you, man. That's sick. Yeah. Cavanaugh's Sioux City. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That was my first residency.
That was my first residency.
Yeah.
DJ Tree.
Tree, yeah.
So Tree's like actually how I figured out how to DJ.
Oh, no shit.
I didn't Petrie was not like a mentor.
Yeah.
He knew like what music to play, but he did not know I actually learned by watching Tree. Like Tree never told me, but I just would sit there and I would watch and I'd be like, how do you do that? How do you do that?
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, aha. That was my aha moment.
Yeah.
I was playing with 50 Cent's second album. And I was mixing his album. I was like, oh, I fucking get it.
I get it now.
Yeah.
So I used to go visit Daily on, I think what was their night? Wednesdays? Was there a night there?
Yeah,
so
that was it. Yeah, that was like the free pizza, and 50 cent drinks. Yeah.
It was like those pitchers too. You'd bring your cup. You had to bring your cup back for the previous week.
When I went to Cavs, because I'm old. It was free pizza and it was like 50-cent drinks. So I don't. It probably changed after that because like people like there was always vomit on the outside.
Oh,
like,
dude, it's wild.
Yeah, people just get after $5 cover and then it was just
nutty
after that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I used to go visit Daly every once in a while. He introduced me to Tree, and then I got to like Daly would let me jump on every once in a while, and he had like these Denon 3000s with like.
We used to play on a rack system. We had the rack.
At Tiki Bob's, I used the rack.
Yeah.
And I every time I went in there with my Serato, I had to go behind the rack, unplug it, plug my Serato box in. It was awful.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I think I talked him into buying a Serato box.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm tired of doing this. And
we used to play with CDs. Like
I remember. I did that too.
Yeah.
I mean, because when I first started at Tiki's, they wouldn't let me use a computer, so they made me use the bar book.
Yeah, man.
And like they didn't have intros on those records, so you had to get real creative.
Everything with your ears, man. So like I learned like,
and that and when I see these younger DJs, this is not a slight to anybody. This is just personal. I don't know if you feel this way. The no headphone thing.
Yeah.
Like you wear an inner ear, don't you?
No.
Do you wear headphones?
I mean, so
I wear an inner ear now because I'm going deaf. But
here's my thing: if it depends on the night, and if I'm just rocking, like I mean, I have waveforms, I have the key right there, and if I'm just like flying through records, like I kind of know what I'm doing, but if I'm going through new music, then I really don't need the headphones as much.
Yeah.
It really depends.
I guess if you're doing your preparing, I guess you don't really need it.
Yeah, like.
But so hear me out. So.
But there are times where like
you need the headphones.
You need the headphones.
You need them. They're very essential.
They are essential.
Yeah, it's like even fake it. Just put them around your neck or something. Like I used to tell Frank Nitti that. I'm like, bro, can you just like leave them unplugged and just leave them around your neck?
And he's a guy that probably doesn't DJ that often,
right?
So like, I would think that he would want the headphones more, but
I don't get it, man. That would
he might be DJing more than me. So because I don't DJ as often as I used to.
Right?
So,
I guess we all don't, right? So
you DJ a lot.
Yeah, I just filled February. Thank God. I was hurting for a while. I had two Saturdays open.
I see. I'm not like that. If I have open dates, I have open dates. Like
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, I know. I'm in a different situation.
Yeah, for sure. Like if I had this as a rental property and like all these other things going on, then obviously I have money to fall back on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah,
but the headphone thing, I don't know, man. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way, and like I said, this isn't a slight towards anybody in particular, but
if you're here, I'll put it this way: if you're playing the same set and you're not switching it up,
right?
That's probably why you're not using the headphones.
Okay.
You should be using your headphones if you're not. You should have to use your headphones. Because if you're doing a new set, if you're doing switching up songs, if you're just
like, what if your cue points?
If you're playing to the crowd, yeah. Well, I mean,
like DMS, you can get it. They're very pre-cued, but what if they're not cued in the spot that you want them?
I always
re-cue mine.
I never. I mean, before going into a night, my cue points are always like predetermined. Like they're always that if there's anything that's unless I'm downloading a song like right there.
Yeah.
Like my cue points are the same for every song.
I want to say it's Club Killers. They label their cue points.
Headliner.
Is it Headliner?
Headliner. They have their cue points like for everyone.
Yeah, and like they'll say like Energy 2, Energy 3. I want to say that's Headliner or Club Killers.
That's what I didn't like about Beatport. Oh,
is it atrocious?
Well,
I don't think I've ever been on Beatport. Actually, I'm lying. I get that sent to me.
Beat Source.
Yeah, I get that sent to me. Yeah.
Beat Source was I thought it was so. I did not like it because they first of all, when I was with the radio show for Double Down, you couldn't use like any of the music for the recording because you can't record anything streamed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the one knock on it, and then the other one, no cue points. So if you want to do something live, like you got to listen for it. So
yeah.
It was like this is a waste of my money.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just something. It's like one of those things you see, and it's like I don't know. But back in the day, you needed your headphones to mix records.
Yeah.
And like I take my inner ear out every now and then, but I leave it in all night.
Yeah.
Just turn the volume down and up. You know what I mean? Just leave it in because like I think because when I don't have my headphones, I'm freaking out. Like I'm wigging out because it's like a thing. I need to plug my headphones in because I need to hear the record that I'm bringing in, make sure I'm bringing it at the right spot, make sure it sounds good. Because a lot of people don't know, but in my left ear, I'm partially deaf. So like if the monitor's not on that side, I need to have that in my ear because I'll switch from cue to master and so I'm using my right ear as a monitor too. So like I'm hearing what the club is hearing after I already cue the record up. Because in my left ear, I'm screwed. Like it's I can hear things, but it's like if my monitor's on, I'm screwed. I definitely need my headphones, and when I don't have them, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh god.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, I'm not at that. I'm surprised. Like my hearing's as good as it is.
Yeah, I know, right? After being in the clubs for like, you know, even when I was a breakdancer in nightclubs, that's kind of where I started losing my hearing. Yeah, is my left ear because I ruptured my eardrum.
Well, I'm sure being on the floor and stuff like right by the speakers. Yeah, that's
I ruptured my. It was partially ruptured my left eardrum, and it has never healed properly. You know, because I was in like loud nightclubs all the time. You know what I mean? So now. It sucks, man. It's like, you know what I mean? I can hear some shit, but some, you know, it's like, if you're talking to me on that left side, sometimes that's why I kind of like when people come to my left side and making a request. I just go,
you're like,
give them a thumbs up.
Gotcha, bud.
Gotcha, man. No problem. So I asked you to think of a couple questions to ask me. What do you got for me?
All right. First question. Best live or recorded set you ever heard?
Me or anybody else?
You.
Oh, me. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh God. Nine always yells at me because I don't record.
No, the best live that you've ever heard.
Oh, ever heard? Not me personally.
Yeah, not you,
okay.
not you personally.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Like that's been like you're like that you go back to that you're like.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Man.
Or both. Give me the best live set you've like been to. Give me
best live set I've been to is 8-Track at. It's not even a question. It was 8-Track at Voyeur.
Ooh. Okay.
I forget what year that was, but he came out. He had this big like Avengers like A thing, and he DJ'd in front of it.
Okay.
Best live set I ever heard.
Okay.
It was insane. Like he played to the crowd. He even switched like his normal routines up because he could see like the crowd wasn't feeling it, and he's like very diverse, obviously, but. Craziest set I've ever seen.
Okay.
It was nuts. So if we're going to recorded, man, because I've heard some good ones. I probably want to DJ AM's live sets, but I wouldn't be able to pick which one because he'd be my second live. Because I'm pretty sure Nine could attest, and like maybe even you, we would go see him at Murmur.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So his live sets at Murmur are wild. Jazzy Jeff, he's another one. He has really good live sets. Like I like these older dudes, man, that really put these sets down. Like I used to love the summer versions that Jazzy Jeff puts out every summer. The summer mixes.
Yeah, they're pretty dope.
Yeah, it's got so much soul. DJ XL, he's another one I listen to faithfully.
Yeah.
Shout out to DJ XL. He's a Philly dude now at Mr. LA, Mr. Clothing Designer.
I mean, XL's just
he's like
goated.
I would love to get him on the podcast when he comes back home. Yeah. Man, you really stumped me with the recorded one because like recorded, you can go deep.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna
pick
one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick one.
Yeah.
I it's funny because it just came to my head. I want to say Lee Jones put out a recorded set that DJ XL played at Morgan's Pier one Sunday party.
Okay. He
went all over the place. It was DJ XL. I don't remember the year. I will find if I can find it. I will put a link in the description on the YouTube because I don't think I can do that on the podcast, but. It was DJ XL's live set at Morgan's Pier for a Sunday party.
Oh.
We were breaking to it. It was, and I'm the full blown DJ. I'm not a breakdancer anymore. He had me breakdancing.
Okay.
Because there was breakers there. He's playing break beats. He was playing everything, man. It was just a good vibe, good day. And listening to that mix makes me think of that day. So that's what it was. And that's when the DJ booth, I don't know if you've been to Morgan's Pier lately, but when you walk into Morgan's Pier and you make a right, there's like pick the tables in another bar. Well, that's where the DJ booth used to be, where that bar is. And that's where it was. It was like a stage. And back before they like remodeled it a little bit. But that's what it was. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So shout out to DJ XL. That's my man. Even though I can't afford his T-shirts, they're like $195.
Oh my! I mean, God bless him.
But he makes them with like this crazy, like Japanese cotton.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. Good for him. He found his niche.
Yeah,
like, that's
he's killing it.
Yeah.
So before we get into your second question, I asked you to bring your favorite pair of sneakers.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to grab those? All right, so you put them on your camera right here. All right, so for people watching on YouTube and I guess listening, you got to describe what it is. So describe what the shoe is. I know what it is, but
yeah, the Jordan 5 Off-White by Virgil.
Okay. Why do you like it so much?
I mean, so I've always loved the Jordan 5. So this was actually the Jordan 5 silhouette was the first Jordan that I actually got.
Was it that one?
No,
the metallic 5s.
It was the metallic 5s actually.
Yeah, they're right there.
yeah. They were the first pair. So that, and then to have it recreated like that.
Yeah.
Man, I just love it. You know, it's just the new take on it and everything.
Yeah.
And I love like the old school version and stuff, but I love like the new twist. I love the twist like that Virgil did like with like the new stuff. Obviously, like I can't get my hands on some of the other stuff he did, but
yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah. And
do you have a plug?
No, I did. Like I think Nick was my plug for a little bit.
Yeah, you guys are like close to the same size, right?
Yeah, I'm a 12.
Yeah. So he used to have he used to work with this men's store, and he would get 12 to 15.
Yeah. So I used to go with him to the men's store and stuff. But I don't know, man. I remember seeing like the first like Jordans I ever laid my eyes on, like where I was like, oh, like those are dope. Those are the military 4s. Right? Okay. And I was like,
military blue 4s, right there.
Yeah. Right there. Yeah, exactly.
So this is a segment of the show that shout out to DJ 9 again. I feel like I mention that dude all the time, but he gave me the idea from Wendy Williams has a sneaker cam on her show. So I was like, oh, that actually be really good if I talk to someone, even if they're not into sneakers. This kind of like because I am, and that's something I can talk about for days, obviously. Right. But so it's good to know that you like that shoe. Because I told you when you came in, I was like, oh man, that's a shoe I'm actually not. I don't have many of. I have 1.5 because the second one is a collab, so it's not really a full 5. Right. So do you feel as a size 12 with that shoe, does it look bulky on you? Do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that doesn't look bulky on me.
I know. Yeah, that's a big foot, man.
Yeah, I'm 5'8" and I wear a size 12. I'm like,
that's insane.
Yeah, wow. I got a wide foot, dude.
Yeah. So is it because it's wide, or is it like you just need a 12 to be comfortable? Like you're really like an 11.5?
Yeah, I got a long, wide foot. I don't know, man.
Is that hard? Is that hard to find a running shoe?
Yeah. It is and it isn't. You know, I mean, they actually don't. They make like wider like running shoes. You know,
it's funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's not it's easier to find a running shoe than it is to find like there's certain like I can't wear Jordan 1s. Like,
yeah, me either.
I love Jordan 1s. I can't wear them.
Yeah,
they're uncomfortable. They're narrow. They just
it's not a comfortable shoe. To be honest with you.
It's not. Yeah.
What's your go-to running shoe?
Nike. Alpha Fly is for like the race, but then like right now I'm rocking this Saucony.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Endorphin Run. Can we see this?
The camera's actually off.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Yeah, it just went off then. Did it?
Well, we'll start it again. So show the camera again. What's your go-to running shoe?
This is the Saucony Endorphin Run.
Yeah.
3. Yeah. This thing is amazing. So that's like my everyday runner right now.
Yeah, it looks comfortable.
Yeah,
a lot of cushion.
Yeah, it's got a plate in it too.
A plate?
Yeah, carbon plate. So kind of like the Jordan 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right on the instep.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
No, throughout the whole thing. So
if the technology is getting pretty good with running.
Yeah.
Things, huh?
Yeah.
So I actually I call them runners, but you know that's what the shoe industry calls them. But I don't think I have any specifically made for running. But I call them runners because they're like a low top, kind of like tennis shoe, I guess you would say, as like the old ladies would say. All right. So what was your second question for me?
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Do you see yourself still DJing?
Oof, I don't know if this podcast take off. Maybe I'll be a radio host.
Yeah.
But 10 years, I kind of am starting to go into another lane I'm obviously still going to be a DJ. I don't think I'll be a DJ 10 years from now. Maybe DJing like weddings and private events or something like that. But I don't think I'll be DJing nightclubs when I'm 49. But who knows? We have mutual friends that are still doing it, so I kind of hope I am.
Yeah.
But I actually have a meeting this week with a venue. I'm going to try to take over the bookings there. And then I'm going to use that as like my stepping stone to start booking talent. And
good.
Because I feel like I have an ear for it. You know what I mean? Because I know when I'm off, I go out and you network, air quotes, for the people who can't see, I'm doing air quotes. And I'm hearing DJs like, I hate saying this, but like mixing out of key and like coming off beat. And like, if you had headphones on, this wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Or maybe they just don't know any better. And, I think if maybe they don't record themselves. And that was a big thing for me.
Right. In the beginning, I record myself all the time.
Yeah.
And that's where I fault now is because I have these sets where I'm like, man, I wish I recorded that.
Yeah.
I feel like that was just a good set. Do you ever have those nights where you're like, man, that was a good set?
Yeah. I always like to look back at my history. And then I'll
that's something I've been doing. So I've been moving into a whole crate and then go through it later.
But I'm always trying to perfect what I do. Even at this stage of my career. And I've kind of, since I've been, working with like Smooth and you guys, and hearing you guys like, dude, and it's so cool, like to hear, Sats, he sounds fresh, even at this point of his career too, and the younger guys, it invigorates me.
Yeah, for sure.
So it just keeps me wanting to.
One thing I will shout out for the younger guys, they're putting me on records I've never heard.
Yeah, and that's important. Right. That keeps me wanting to just improve and just step my game up.
And that's what to answer your question, to see myself in 10 years, I see myself still DJing, but I want to have other avenues as well. So like, I'm praying that this, the right person hears this podcast and like really likes it. Cause like, I was watching this movie the other day and it was a Jonah Hill movie. I can't remember the name of it. It's on Netflix. Mm-hmm. And he started a podcast with his friend and then Complex picked it up. They made it a TV show. It was obviously for the movie. It's like bullshit, right. But how sick would that be? Like someone hears this and they were like, yo, this is like a DJ just talking shit and, listening to likes sneakers and likes the culture or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, so hopefully the right person hears this and they were like, oh, this guy has a great voice. So hopefully like, this picks up and it goes, and then I'm booking talent in places, and I just started a little bit of a wedding business on my own besides the weddings I do with Smooth. I was like, I'm really trying to make DJing my life, and so in the 10 years, I want to say I have different avenue streams coming from music or my voice.
Yeah.
So that's what I've seen myself in 10 years.
Yeah, I think you just, at the end of the day, you got to do what you love.
Yeah.
Do it consistently.
And this is what I love to do, man. Yeah. I love talking. I love music. I love, sneakers. Yeah. And that's why, that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on as well is because you're not just a DJ. Now I know that you're into fitness. Well, I knew that, obviously, because you bust my balls all the time. But you're into sneakers, you're into fitness. And so one of my questions I have for you, actually, because it's going to go into this other part. What's it like balancing being a husband and a father, but still? Because I know there's a lot of people probably thinking about this. I have family members always say like, "Well, when you have kids?" And like, I meet a girl and she's like, "Well, you're going to do this when we have kids or whatever." What is your advice to someone going into that? Because you're very successful. You've been doing this, full time 10 years. You have a wife. You have 2 kids, right? Yeah. So, what's your advice to them?
Yeah, I met my wife when I was DJing.
Yeah.
And then I left my 9 to 5 and just did this full time. And I put my wife through med school, like DJing. So I was the full time caretaker. Plus I husband DJ.
Yeah.
Took care of all the bills.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah. So I helped get her through med school and everything while the kids were young, and that's why I quit drinking, because I was like, I can't do all of this and still party. So that was like, something's got to give. I actually did a sober October, and it was like, wow, my life is so much easier without this. I'm like, let me keep it going. And then that just kind of, as it kept going, I was like, I don't know if I ever want to go back. And it kind of just opened up more opportunities for me. And that's kind of, I feel that's where my career just kind of boomed.
Okay. At the time. You were more focused.
Exactly. I mean, my life got better.
And you had something that I mentioned in my last podcast is purpose.
Yeah, exactly. The kids. I mean, the family.
How old are your kids?
My son is 12 and 12 and a half, and my daughter's about to be 11.
Wow, so they're pretty close.
Yeah.
So
it was right when my daughter was hit like a half a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
she drove me to stop drinking.
Yeah, that's good though. My mom had to stop smoking because she found out me and my brother were allergic to cigarette smoke, and that was hard for me DJing in nightclubs. Like I would leave and I couldn't talk for like 2 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing that it's
good thing you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So going out to I'm trying to think of the newer dads that are DJs like Nick Spinelli. He just had a baby boy.
Yeah.
Kurt is about to have another child, so he has 2. So if you could give any advice to these DJs,
they're having another one.
Yeah. Oh, am I not supposed to say that? I think he announced it. Okay, oh my God! Breaking news on Talkin with Tonka episode 4.
That's amazing.
Courtesy's having another kid.
Hey.
So
now it gets interesting.
Yeah. So if you could give advice to these new fathers and other fathers that are DJing, they might be struggling, like figuring out if they should keep going. What do you think? Give to them.
It's family. Family is first. And for me, it was always just I had to cut things out that weren't important,
right?
Which was drinking and
right.
the partying. So and I figured that out, and ever since then, like life just got easier.
Right.
So I knew I could simplify my life by doing that, and that I could fix being tired with caffeine.
Right. Yeah. Caffeine, definitely. Yeah.
I can't fix being hungover.
You can't.
I always that was like my motto.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And if you have a good supportive wife, a good supportive partner,
right?
I'll put it that way. Everything just falls into place.
Yeah, for sure.
You just have to have communication.
I commend you for that, man, because I tried this sober January thing. I lasted like 8 days.
Yeah, it's you just got to get in a habit, and you got to go more than 8 days.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, but me now being sponsored by the liquor company, it's like even harder. I feel like because everyone sees me like, let's have a Tonka tea. You know what I mean? So it's like,
when you have a tea name,
I'm wearing their hoodie for Christ's sake. But I really commend you, man, because that's a crazy achievement. I don't know if you look at it as an achievement, but coming from this end of the table, it's definitely an achievement, man. That's like something I feel like. A lot of people can learn from you as well is, if alcohol is affecting your day to day or anything, let know from your book, get that purpose, find your purpose, and you don't need alcohol.
Yeah.
You really don't need it. And when the beginning, was it hard for you?
It was extremely hard. And I tried at times before, and failed. It's like, I'm not going to do shots, or I'm just going to drink beer or something like that.
Right.
And I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of guy. Yeah. So, and then it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take a break for a month. And then I got past that hump. And then from then on, it was just like, I want to keep this going.
That's awesome.
And it was still hard for a while. But after I got over that 2-month period, it got easier and easier. And then for me, it was just,
yeah. That's what's up, man.
It just made the most sense, just for my family and for my life.
Yeah.
That's what made it, when I just look back at what my priorities were.
Yeah.
It just made the most sense to walk away.
Yeah, for sure. And I find myself now, I go whole gigs without drinking, which is great. I feel so much better the next day. I'm still tired, obviously. But.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to lie. There's days where I'm tired, but, it's just easier to work out the next day. It's easier to function. I know if I just start moving, shit's easy.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's an incredible thing. I think what's really hard for me is being around it. I think so much because we go out on our nights off. You see everybody else drinking. Yeah. So I have come to find.
And listen, it's not to cut you off, but it's definitely limited me with some relationships in our business, and it is what it is. I'm not going to describe, but
yeah.
You take the good with the bad,
Yeah, for sure. You have to.
Yeah.
And I feel like places like Barstool, they sell liquid death, right? You brought a liquid death with you. So when you have that can, something in your hand, right? If I had something in my hand that on January 9th, I think it was, when someone offered me a shot, I probably wouldn't have took it because I had something in my hand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like liquid death, it's that big can of water, and it's not a bottle of water. Everybody has cans in their hand. Everybody's doing these things. Yeah. I think it's kind of like when people quit smoking, they start eating candy, and so they get fat. or, you know what I mean, they need that oral fixation. I think it's kind of the same thing. If you're in a bar, you have something in your hand, you're not going to, do you need a drink? No, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I probably would have got through it. But so I think this would be a good spot to wrap it up. I appreciate you coming down to Manayunk, man.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wanted to add that I might have missed out on?
No. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. So actually, I'm not going to end it here.
Oh, okay.
Your Instagram name.
Oh, DJ Montone, Montone.
But the tagline. Aqua, was it Aqua?
Oh, Aquafina Poppy.
Yeah. Where'd that come from?
So Drake is Champagne Poppy.
Right.
And I just wanted to take a sober track on that. You know,
yeah.
So
I love it. I love. You should get stickers made.
I know.
Aquafina Poppy. That'd be. If you want, I'll create them for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
I love it.
So wrap it up here at Talkin with Tonka episode 4 with DJ Montone, my man. We're gonna go work out now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kill him. That's my.
I'm gonna put him on the treadmill. Let's go.
Oh god. I'm not looking forward to that. So the people listening at home, the links are in the description. At DJ Montone, at DJ Tonka, at Talkin with Tonka, all on Instagram. If you're on YouTube, it's gonna be right here below me is my Instagram and Talkin with Tonka's Instagram. Right below Nick, you'll see his Instagram. Thank y'all for tuning in to episode 4. Hope you guys learned something about DJ Montone. And if you're having, problems with alcoholism and stuff like that, he is proof that it can happen. And I mean, it's also proof that if you're worried about, being a father with, a family and everything and being a full-time DJ, you can make it happen because it's all about purpose. See you guys next week, episode 5 coming to you, 2 weeks from now. So everybody have a good night. Peace out. See you guys Thursday at 8. Awesome. It was too much at the end, but whatever.